Happy holidays, everybody. And for Christmas this year, I decided to go ahead and review one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time and my favorite Christmas horror movie, and that is Black Christmas. For Christmas this year, I decided to review the original, the 2006 Gorefest one, and the 2019 one that I still have not watched. I decided to kick off my first year on YouTube reviewing the first ever Black Christmas movie. Like I said, this is my favorite Christmas horror movie, and it's a very underrated one in my opinion. Where everyone says that Halloween created the horror slasher that we get today with the first person point of view and all these characters, but no one gives the credit to Black Christmas that it deserves because everything that Halloween gets credit for, Black Christmas did it 4 years before that one, and it's a shame too because this movie is a horror movie classic and no one really talks about it as much. Maybe since the movie was made in the 70s, people think that it's bad, but just because something was made in the from like I don't know 20s to the 80s does not mean they're bad. To me, I think some of the older classic monster movies are better than horror movies that we get today. But that is not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about Black Christmas, and I'm just gonna give you all my thoughts because I don't think I have a single negative with this movie. I don't have any problems with it. This is the damn near flawless movie because I absolutely love it. I just love how this movie is supposed to be. Where let's just talk about it. Starting off with the positives is the characters. I think the characters were really enjoyable. I wasn't begging for anyone to die. I wasn't wishing to someone to die. But if they died, I didn't really mind. But I honestly enjoyed watching all these characters, mainly Barb. I think she was my favorite character because we can all relate to her. Maybe because she was played by Margot Kidder, and I absolutely love her. I just love all these characters and the cast. Like, the cast plays their characters perfectly. Like, Olivia Hussey, like I said, Margot Kidder, and absolutely John Saxon, the man himself. I love John Saxon in this movie. He is one of my favorite actors ever. He was in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and he's amazing in that. I think this might be his best performance, if you ask me, because he plays this serious person trying to figure out all these cases and like all these murders and phone calls and all that, but yet he's also having a little bit of fun on Christmas, like with the scene when he's trying to call the the sorority house and sees that it says fellatio and then the number. I really like that scene. That's a lot of fun. Speaking of that being funny, I also like the comedy in this movie. It doesn't go over the top. It doesn't try and do too much. It's actually a lot of fun, and it's actually funny. Like, there's actually parts in this where I actually start laughing out loud. Like the scene in the police station when he finds out it's about Felicio, and there's a lot of other comedy that I actually like with Margot Kidder saying how a turtle can have sex for 3 days straight, which is that true? That'd be a weird thing to look up on Google. Like I said, I like the comedy in this. It's not cliche or anything. It has fun with it, and I absolutely love Bob Clark for that. Barb Clark, one of the best Christmas directors out there. He made A Christmas Story. Very few people make a horror Christmas movie and then a comedy Christmas movie. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I also like the phone calls. The phone calls are really, really scary. I actually freaked out when I hear the phone calls, like with Billy saying, "I know what you did to baby Agnes," and all that. Dude, it's terrifying. I remember when I was younger and I first watched this. I'm like, oh my god. I was like legit scared. I'm surprised that anyone in this movie is like not even frightened when they hear just one of them. I mean, Olivia Hussey's character was a bit terrified at first, but if I heard like the first phone call in this movie about like how he's harassing them, I wouldn't be able to sleep for a week. Probably, because I would probably be like just terrified at the fact that this weirdo called me and be like, "What if he's in my house? What if he tries to break into the house and tries to kill me?" That'd be me. The phone calls are terrifying. I absolutely love them though. They're just messed up, bro. I also like the death scenes in this. They're pretty creative. Like with Claire's, like you get the bag over her head, where like that's like all the posters, and there's just a bag around her mouth, around her face, and her mouth open, just going back and forth on a rocking chair. Like It's creepy. I love it though. It's creepy, yet creative. I also like Mrs. Mack's death when like Bill is holding like a hook in the attic, and when she shows her face, he like throws it and like hooks her and pulls her up. I like that death too. It's nothing we've never seen before, but it is fun. I really like it. And I think my favorite kill in this movie was Barb's death when Billy takes like the little statue unicorn glass thing and uses like the horn of the unicorn and stabs her over and over in the bed. That is my favorite kill, and all the other kills are pretty creative. I do like them. They're a lot of fun, and they're just weird. And now let's talk about the star of the show of this movie, which I wouldn't say star of the show because he's hardly in it, and that is Billy. Now, there are some people that say that his name actually isn't Billy and he just says that in the phone calls just to be weird. But I'm going to call him Billy because that's what he refers to, and I'm also thinking that the phone calls are all true, that he actually did this and he's just a fuck job, let's say. I really, really like the Billy character. He is really messed up. I think he's one of those horror characters where you don't actually see him, which I am glad because it leaves you to the viewer's point of view of this character where you get to see what these characters see. You don't get to see him fully. You just see this random ass character that you know nothing about. You don't know any backstory. It's creative. I like that. And like Billy, just when you see like that eye in the corner of the door, that's one of my favorite shots in this movie, and also with the unicorn death thing. Just Billy, he's a very interested character. You can't really call him a slasher like icon because he's hardly in it. You don't really know who he really is, but I like that. It's different. It's something we've never really seen in horror movies before. And also it just like when he says like, "What have you done to baby Agnes?" That leaves you to the viewer's point of view. Like you don't know what to think about him. Did he kill this person named Agnes? You don't really know anything about him. They try to answer stuff in the remake, which I absolutely hated. This movie leaves you to the viewer's point of view, like the ending of this movie, which actually I'll talk about in a sec. Like where Billy, you get to think about it yourself. You can say whatever you want about this character. He can just be this normal guy that just goes crazy, or he can have just been like an escaped mental patient. You don't know who this Billy character is, and it leaves you to the viewer's point of view, and you just get to theorize your own way. There's like you can make this movie your own with the Billy character, and with the ending. I love the ending to this movie where when the guy Knowles, I think his name is, where he calls up Jess and he's just like, the killer's in the house and all of that. And she freaks out, goes upstairs, tries to save him. Then she sees the eye, and then like the killer freaks out. And after she kills her boyfriend Peter, which was the red herring of this movie, when the movie tries to make you think that he's the killer in this movie and not this person named Billy. But in the end, after she kills Peter, there's someone still in the attic. And you hear this voice that you've been hearing all movie and it says, "Agnes, it's me, Billy." And after that scene, movie cuts out in front of the house and the phone starts to ring, and you wonder if Jess really lives at the end of this movie. And notice how, if you stay through the entire credits like I do, you can see Claire's body in the attic with the candle. It's still going on and shows that you can see her to the candle. And during the credits, the phone rings louder, louder, and louder, hinting that Jess may have died. Like I said, with the Billy character, you can fantasize anything you want. Same thing with the ending. You can make up your own ending. Did Jess live? Did Jess die? Is Billy just going to stay up in the attic just to torture her some more? Or after the phone call stopped, he left the attic, went to Jess's room, and killed her as she was asleep. You can think anything you want with the ending. It is your choice. But like I said, guys, I really don't have any issues with this movie. This movie's a lot of fun. It's one of the most underrated horror movies ever made, and I never knew it was underrated. I didn't know a lot of people didn't know about this movie. It's a shame too, because it's an absolute horror classic, and I recommend it to everybody that has not seen it, and if you're a horror fan, you need to watch it. And I cannot go 1 year during December where I have not watched it. It is that much fun, and it is one of those movies where I watch it every single year. This is one of those movies where I say that you definitely go out and add it to your collection and buy it. So what did you guys think of Black Christmas? Are you like me that feels that it's a very underrated movie, or are you just one of those people that doesn't care about the film and thinks that the remakes are better? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. Merry Christmas to everyone and happy holidays. Look out for my other 2 Black Christmas reviews. I will hopefully get the 2006 remake possibly out tonight, or maybe tomorrow in the afternoon. Who knows what I'll end up doing. Hopefully I will get it out soon. But thank you to everyone who's been watching my channel throughout this past year. I've had a great year with making YouTube videos and reviews for all of you. Like I said, look out for my other videos. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button and subscribe and hit the bell notifications if you loved it. But until my next review